Welcome back to the media stage here at AGENTIC. We are live in Arlington, Virginia for a couple of days of amazing content, and I am joined by a variety of our guests here on the stage, including some of our speakers and sponsors. And one of those is Jamie Engesser. He's the CTO at Sema4.ai, and I would love, Jamie, if you would just give a little bit of information about what Sema4 does to the team listening or watching at home.
I'd love to. Jamie Engesser. When you look at Sema4.ai, it stands for Semantics for AI. We are fundamentally kind of a state-of-the-art, next-gen AI platform that helps business owners drive agentic business processes in their enterprise. We kind of do it through three core mechanisms. One is business-driven agents, connecting to your enterprise data and assets, and then deploying through a traditional SDLC lifecycle so that you get all the IT support that you need.
Okay.
So that's kind of our driving function.
That's awesome. Now, business agents, let's talk about kind of what that really looks like on the road. When the rubber hits the road, you know, kind of people are beginning to try and find ways of looking at the processes that they have within their existing businesses and replicating those over into this kind of agentic world. What are some of the use cases that you're beginning to see actually stick? Because I think a lot of people are testing things, but what are the ones that are turning into production for real?
You know, it's really interesting because a lot of people thought, and we even thought to an early extent, that a lot of the customer-facing use cases would be priority one. Is where we're seeing the most stick is actually in the office of the CFO around things like accounts payable, accounts receivable, payment remittance, etc. Good example of that, one of our customers has about 1,500 people worldwide doing back office processing. It's a Fortune 50 manufacturing company. They've got about 1,500 people worldwide. The bulk of those people are doing back office, accounts payable, accounts receivable, payment remittance, etc. We've just started picking off the low-hanging fruit in those processes. Right. First one being payment remittance, and now we're processing it straight through for them. They started with RPA. They were doing about 20%. Now with Agentic, they're doing about 89% effective processing straight through.
And so, you know, when you're thinking about a process like that, which, you know, is, you know, payment remittance, a good example, not particularly data critical in terms of, you know, it's quite mappable, people know what's working. But some of these higher order tasks where a human has to be in the loop is also a real challenge. Yeah. So in particular when it comes to financial information or, yeah, kind of mission critical type processes, how do you build agents that can work really well at taking the lift away from humans but still allow them to be in the loop enough to make sure that things are going on well? What does that look like?
You bring up a great question. I think everybody dreams of what we call worker agents, where they just do all the work for you. The reality is there is a supervision. Okay. So we rarely believe we're going to take 100% of people out of any process. We almost always have to do some level of work. The way we do that is through a couple of things. So there's a big validation that we spend time on with agents. So when you look at building a really good agent, kind of getting to a demo quality agent really, really fast. Getting to a fully valid agent, really, really hard, because now each piece of data, as I assimilate it, as I read an invoice in PDF, as I take that invoice, take the line items out of that, validate discount codes, etc., and then want to process it all the way through, each one of those steps has to have a data validation done to it. Yeah. So there's first like what I'll call a document validation. Did I read the document correctly? Did each one of the line items plus the discount plus tax all summarize to the right total? That's reading the document correctly. Then there's a second step of that, which is, does it validate to my back office system? Right. So does it do that secondary? Those two validation steps gives me a high percentage chance of accuracy. So what we do is we score and rank based on those to give you that high accuracy output on your agents.
And how are customers actually beginning to identify which of these processes they can turn into agentic processes? Because like you say, people want this slightly kind of utopian dream of the everything agent, the one that can just do it all. But the technology promises we might get there, but I don't think it's there yet, is it?
I always say, is what we don't want to do is we don't want to build random acts of intelligence or random AI. We don't want to do that. An agent has to be very deterministic rather than probabilistic. Right. I have to make it do the same thing 10 out of 10 times. What I don't want is when GPT-5 with high reasoning comes out, all of a sudden it comes with a better way to process invoices that ignores the fact that we need the line of business updated. So we are very deterministic in our agents. We're very methodical about the steps in the agent definition, and then we iterate on that to kind of drive it out.
I mean, the term agents, more broadly there, I mean, you've used it, has become an evolution of what we might have just said was automation in the past. Yes. But there are some real critical steps in here where large language models in particular and other forms of AI are doing much heavier lifting than was maybe previously possible. Just explain to me a little bit about how you've chosen the different types of moments in that process where an AI really is helping to change things from it just being purely an automation from step 1 to step 2.
It's a great question. One of the things we look at is RPA to agent, and we really think that's a logical progression for the world, and we believe that's the 10x step.
Okay.
RPA was probably a 2 or 3x step.
Unpack RPA for us, so for people
So
listening.
RPA, think of RPA, robotic process automation. It's extremely good at A, then B, then C, without having intelligence in it.
Yeah.
So if I just need to read from box folder A, copy the document to box folder B, awesome RPA things. I need to do that a million times in a row exactly the exact same way, I can do that. Things like I need to read a PDF. I need to understand what that PDF says. I need to validate the information on that PDF. I need to say, what's the likelihood that it was right? And then once I've done that, then I need to update something else or do some actions based on it. Those are agentic because it takes that reasoning. It takes the logic as well as the process. So I need process plus logic before it makes sense for an agent to really be successful in those steps.
Super useful.
I mean, the best way to think about it is if it's 100% the same 100% of the time with no logic applied, stick to your RPA. There's great RPA tools out there. Stick to those tools.
Okay.
Most oftentimes we're seeing where reasoning does get important, and it takes you from that 20% where RPA got to 80 or 90% with Sema4.
Okay. And so thinking about where the future of this goes, I was speaking this morning in the keynote I gave about, we're in the agentic age at the moment. So that's when, we talk to an AI and it does the work for us. We're soon going to get to a point where the AIs talk to one another to get the work done. So just talk to me about a little bit of where you see the future of that going.
It's really interesting because a lot of people ask me, is this a good process? And one of the first things I'll look at is the process contained within one app?
Right.
That's number one question. The reason for that is if you look at most of the apps out there, whether it's Workday, Salesforce, SAP with Joule, the list goes on, each one of those apps has a really robust capability internal to itself to do AI and agentic work.
Yes.
Is where the sweet spot comes and where we think the bulk of the work comes is cross-app integration. So we look at number one is, can I leverage the Joule in SAP's case? Can I leverage Salesforce's agents? Can I leverage other agents, manipulate them in a way that lets me orchestrate a set of agents, plus put logic in the middle to say when to do that, to then do broader, more robust work? We think of that as the next gen standard.
And so where does that then put the role of the business leader? What are you becoming in that?
I would say, so long term, we look at it as we will be the orchestration engine for kind of agents. And we look at maybe a way to help with this discussion a little bit. What does agents look like today? What's the landscape for agents? We think in 3 buckets, and we say we're the 4th bucket. There's a first bucket, which is an out-of-the-box agent that does work, but it's out of the box. I don't define it. I just buy it. It does X. A lot of those 11X, there's quite a few of those that just do customer call center as an example. Legal's another example. There's that set. There's a second set of agents that we see out there that are do-it-yourselfers. So I can go write code. I can use open source frameworks, and I can build up an agent framework. It's a number of how many George Washington grads, given I'm here, or how many Stanford grads can I hire that know Python. Is what we see with those is almost every one of our customers started in that camp.
Yes, they've mostly come from that kind of build it up from the ground.
The challenge is they get the first iteration done, they get it to demo quality, but the line of business realizes, I don't trust this anymore. That's why 95% of agentic solutions fail is they built a toy, they didn't build a real agent that works. There's a third camp, which is think of Google, think of Microsoft, think of Agentforce a little bit more this way, where it's part of their ecosystem, it's embedded in their ecosystem, and as long as you're within that ecosystem, it's kind of enhancing that ecosystem. If I really want to do interesting things with Excel, Copilot does amazing stuff. If I want to do Excel plus Power BI, Copilot does a really good job. When I start spanning the ecosystem, then there's a fourth category in this. Our belief is it's an agent platform that runs across the enterprise, and that's where we believe we will compete and win, and that's where we've been winning. Every one of our customers has tried the other ones. They've realized for point solutions that helps us, but when it comes to an agentic platform, we need something else.
So orchestration, agents talking with other agents.
Correct.
And then, that's where the benefit comes in the long term.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for being with us at the agentic stage. If people want to find out more about Sema4, where do they go?
Sema4.ai. Sema4, the number 4 is the number 4. .ai. Great place. You can grab our studio, get started in a matter of a few minutes, and it's amazing. Give us a try.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us.